Hi guys, and welcome to my guide on how to host your own Mario Kart Wii LAN party. Today, I will be demonstrating how to set up your own Nintendo online server for Mario Kart Wii, and helping you set up both Dolphin emulators and Wii consoles so that up to 12 people can play Mario Kart simultaneously. The system requirements for this vary with how many Wiis are in your possession. If you are solely running Wiis as your clients, then you don't need much PC power at all. However, if you are like me and only have, say, a couple of Wiis that you've inherited from family and friends, then you'll likely be using Dolphin emulator. This is legal if you own the game yourself and own a Wii console. However, I am not in any way advocating for the illegal downloading of ROMs from, say, torrent websites. Do this at your own will. I need to give thanks to a creator called BarronWaffles on GitHub, as well as his help on Discord for helping me set this up, and EnergyCube, who has created this specific fork of the server, and he has also helped me on Reddit to make sure that I get this up for you guys. Without further ado, let's get started. We will be hosting the server on a virtual machine. However, the server is incredibly low power, so you can run on anything above a Core 2 Duo in age. It won't require any graphics power whatsoever either. As I will also be running Dolphin emulator on this device, I am going to make sure that I'm only allocating 2 threads and 2 GB of RAM to this virtual machine. Dolphin emulator only really requires 1 thread, but you can enable dual core mode. This often helps out performance, but sometimes hinders it. It varies game to game. I'm running a Ryzen 2600X in my device, so that is 6 cores and 12 threads. So with 3 instances of Dolphin and just my virtual machine running in the background, I should have no issues whatsoever. I also have an RX 580, which will be my display driver, and this is perfect for 3 native resolution Dolphin instances. There should be no slowdowns, and it should run smoothly. Now I'll guide you through the setup of the server. Bear in mind that on this virtual machine, I have to do additional setup. This is not required on a machine that you're going to be wiping and starting afresh on. For a guide on how to do that, please learn how to install Ubuntu on a device using a removable memory stick or other medium. The program I'm using to run virtual machines is Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. This is free and very easy to install, and it is quite simple for a beginner like myself. So I'm going to start a new virtual machine. I'm going to call it my DWC server. It is going to be a Linux 64-bit Ubuntu version. I'm only going to give it 2048, 2 GB of RAM. Create a virtual hard disk. I've got a 1 TB hard drive, which this will be running off, so this should be fairly easy. Just clicking next. Dynamic allocated, so this will shrink and gain in size the more you use it, but as it's very lightweight, it will barely use any size. 10 GB, fine. Now I'm going to press Settings. This is incredibly important. You need to go to Network and make it into a bridge adapter. This will make the virtual machine accessible to the network. It will have its own IP address. However, I do not know how to allow it to have a static IP address. If someone could let me know in the comments, that would be incredibly appreciated. I'm going to press Start. A prerequisite for this is to have Ubuntu installed. You need to have Ubuntu 16.0.4.6. So I'm going to go to where I've had this downloaded. This can be downloaded from the Ubuntu website simply by searching Ubuntu 16.04.6, and it needs to be the AMD 64 version, as this means 64-bit and x86 architecture. Double click on that and start. So this will start up the installation of Ubuntu. Not many other versions have been tried with this installation of the Mario Kart server, of the Nintendo server. So please bear in mind that other versions of Linux may not work. You may be able to get it working, as the components of the server are pretty standard. However, I am nowhere near advanced enough to be able to tinker with it, so I'm just going to follow the guide. I'm going to install Ubuntu. I'm not going to add anything else, as it's only been tested with the bare essentials. Continue. Just bear in mind that this has no accessibility to outside data, information on your computer, so you don't have to worry about it wiping anything on your current computer. I'm just going to call it DWC. I'm going to enter a short password. Something to be wary of is you should not, by any means, let this server be accessible by the internet. It should remain on your network. Exposing this to the internet will likely attract hackers, those who know a lot more about the internet and about getting into servers and your local computer than I do, and this could lead to data loss or ransomware. Also, when connecting people to your network for your LAN party, please make sure you know them and don't invite strangers, because once they're on your network and they have access to this server, they could do nasty things. But I trust all my friends, and they also don't have the tech savvy to do any of that. So I will continue. Installation is now complete. I will simply click Restart Now. And enter. Get rid of these annoying pop-ups. Simply log in. And we have a completely usable desktop. Bearing in mind this is a little bit slower than it may be running on a normal quote-unquote machine, as it's only running on 1 core, 2 threads, and got 2 GB of RAM. But bear with me that this is all that is needed for this particular server. I'm going to go to Terminal, almost writing CMD there. And here we have the terminal. And we're simply going to be copying the commands here. So sudo superuser, put the password in there, make directory /var www. I'm going to change directory to there, so this terminal is pointing to this directory. And then we are not going to get Kyle 95WM. And we're not going to be getting Kyle 95WM. This is a depreciated fork. We're going to be getting EnergyCubes, but everything else is exactly the same. Nope, not Kyle, EnergyCube. So it's all in a very nice installer. That's executable. And it's been saved. So this is basically, once I've turned this into an executable file, and bash it, then we are ready to roll. So please read this. I'm not going to be doing this because I've done this many a time. I'm just going to write accept. So it's going to be installing everything it needs, all prerequisites itself, making life very, very easy. So, do we want to add this workaround? Yes, enter. It is just rebooting itself. Now's the time, once it's reloaded, I like to check that the IP address is on my LAN rather than attached to my desktop that this is running off. So, go away tab, terminal, there it is. And see how snappy this environment is, even though it's running on incredibly basic hardware. I'm just going to do ifconfig. There we go. It's on my local LAN network. So I'm just going to do cd var www sudo bash, because I'm no longer a super user, cowfc.sh, put in there, accept. Accept. Just running through it again. It's already got everything because we've done this once before. So to explain what it's doing now, it is installing a lot of packages that basically create a web server. This is spoofing Nintendo's old server that handled all sorts of traffic and matchmaking for games. Let me just enter in my IP. Please, please don't use external IP. You will have to do port forwarding and everything, and it's just going to make it exposed to the internet, and that's awful. Never ever do that. There's so many ways to get into the server. It's not very secure unless you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing and you're far more advanced than me, then be my guest. There is a need for it now with some new exploits that people have found. However, if you're just wanting this for a LAN party like I am, keep it local. NPOS3. I believe this is my default one, so we want this one, we don't want this one. AMP0S3, yep. Considering conflict. So, this uses a program called DNS mask. All that does is reroute traffic from one place to another. So when a Wii or a Dolphin emulator wants to access Nintendo's own servers, which are now defunct, rather than going to a dead end, this DNS mask reroutes it to this server, routes all traffic to it. I'm going to enter my username. I'm going to call it Cooper A, because my name's Alex Cooper, and my password. Rank 1. No. I'm just going to put enter. Please hit enter to reboot now. Yep. So I'm now rebooting. Now, we need to make sure that all the services are started. Sometimes, a lot of the time I've found, is that the web server on Apache 2 is not started when you reload. Neither is DNS mask. So, I'm going to go to terminal again. sudo service DNS mask start 58 sudo service DNS mask, not DNS mask, Apache 2 start. I'm just going to check that the address has stayed the same. And now I should, when going to this admin page, make sure it's the right IP. We have it. This is the server. It's not secure, but who cares? I'm now going to add RMC to the whitelist for Mario Kart Wii. Now I'm going to show you how to access the server. So, you need your IP address, and then you need this suffix. So change it to the IP address that your server is dedicated to. Put in your username and your password, and ta-da! Make sure you have your whitelist. RMC is Mario Kart. It should not matter about the region. Always make sure that your virtual machine is running, and you may need to restart the services if you do not get any response. You may get an error when you do these because they may not have even started. This is a problem I have found, but once they're started, they continue on until you shut down the computer. So please just make sure they're started just by doing sudo service the service start. You can always stop them if you want, if you wish. Now, to make sure that Dolphin emulator goes through this server, you need to change the adapter options for your client PC. Do not touch this. This is a virtual machine. Properties, TCP/IP4, and you need to put in the DNS of the server you are running. So it's great to have this as a static IP on the VM, but please again, tell me how to do this in the comments below. So that is set. And you need to make sure that you can access the internet. So I'm just going to use Access as the website to go to, and yes, we can. If you, for some reason, you cannot, it's normally because you've either got the IP address wrong or DNS mask has not started. So you should be able to get to this admin panel, and you should be able to access the internet from the PC. Now, let's show you how to configure multiple instances of Dolphin to run off this. So what you need is an installation of Dolphin, not the local, but the permanent installation, and you need to run these commands. First, you need to cd into it, and then you need to create multiple configurations, which is this file, and you click enter, and there you go, you've created an instance. This is absolutely necessary. Do not simply reopen Dolphin, as this will cause system config errors and will mess things up royally. So just put 2, keep iterating in numbers, and you get more and more. We're going to have 3. So you also need a patched version of Mario Kart Wii. I'm going to link to this in an episode, but for this purpose I've got one pre-downloaded, and here it is, Mario Kart Wii. All this patch has done is remove the secure HTTPS handshake to allow it to go to an unsecure server. So I'm going to load this now. I'm going to be using a Dolphin bar. Let me just plug this in. real Wii remote. I have my remote to hand. I'm going to sync it in mode 4 of the Dolphin bar. I do recommend the Dolphin bar massively. You might have just been able to hear that shake. And I'm going to have a profile that does not have the little numbers underneath. That's your Nintendo ID. This is a prerequisite. It must not have a pre-existing one from a different server, otherwise you're going to have a problem with your profile and the profile will need clearing. Again, I'll do an episode on this and how to resolve it. Nintendo WFC. And there we go. You won't have any friends, and there's no one else on the server currently, but this is where you simply go into another instance. So I'm just going to... This is where the fun begins. Real remote, refresh. Controllers, just going to disconnect that one. And there we go. And it's a simpler matter of creating a room, swapping friend codes, and you can have as many instances as your computer can handle. So just keep iterating on the conf section, conf 4, conf 5. So if you've got a Ryzen 3 3950X, you could have multiple of these. You could have up to 6 easily, as these only often use one thread. And there we go. You've got your own LAN party started, and in my next episode, I will be showing you how to resolve certain issues and how to set this up on the Wii. Thank you ever so much for watching.